Now, joining us on the broadcast live from Washington, D.C., we have with us Mr. Jamil Anjafar. Mr. Jafar is the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute and an assistant professor of law and director of the National Security Law and Policy Program. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sir, U.S. President Joe Biden is set to pay a solidarity visit to Israel. What's your take on the United States' involvement in the Israel-Hamas war?
Well, obviously, the United States has sent 2 aircraft carrier battle groups to the region to warn any state or non-state actor against intervening in the ongoing conflict. The conflict began by Hamas a week ago when they killed 1,400 Israelis. Beyond that, in addition, the U.S. government has sent weaponry to Israel, including small diameter bombs, as well as missiles for the Iron Dome missile defense system.
Right, sir. Now, Iran has also warned of possible preemptive action against Israel in the coming hours. What's your assessment of this? What would be the practical implications of Iran's involvement, and what do you think has triggered this warning by Iran?
Well, let's be clear. Iran is already involved. Iran has long been involved in this area, in this fight against Israel. They have been funding Hamas for years. They funded Lebanese Hezbollah as well, which is conducting attacks against Israel in the north. And has long conducted attacks in Lebanon. And Iran has long funded attacks against the United States as well, including during the time the United States was in Iraq by funding Kataib Hezbollah and Ansar al-Haq. So Iran has and is already involved in this fight. If they get more engaged and continue to be involved, they will likely have to suffer consequences as a result. So it is not to Iran's benefit to get increasingly involved in this conflict at this point.
So aid to Gaza has emerged as a priority as well. Over 1 million Gazans have been displaced. U.S. President Joe Biden also said that invasion and occupation of Gaza by Israel would be a big mistake. This as Israel gears up for a ground offensive. How do you see the situation unfolding going forward?
Well, there's no question that Israel is going into Gaza. That is happening. They are going to go in and do everything they can to take Hamas out. This is a terrorist organization that has been designated by the United States as a terrorist group since 1997. They've repeatedly conducted attacks against U.S. interests as well as against Israel. And so that's what Israel's going to go in to do. Now, I don't think Israel has any interest in occupying Gaza. There's no benefit for them. It's a challenging situation. And so the question of what happens after Hamas is dealt with, which will take a while, is a much tougher question. It's clear Egypt does not want to get involved there in Gaza. It's clear the United States doesn't want to be involved, and nor do the Israelis in terms of a long-term situation. The most likely organization that can take responsibility there is the Palestinian Authority. But of course, the people of Gaza themselves have voted against the Palestinian Authority and voted for Hamas in prior elections.
Right, sir, and we see that the impact of this has not been limited to the region. It is spilling beyond. We've seen the hate crimes that have risen as well. What's your take on the situation?
Well, look, I mean, you think about the situation that the Israelis face. The United States lost about 3,000, just under 3,000 people on September 11, 2001. That's on a population of about 350 million. If you calculate on a population-adjusted basis, the 1,400 people lost by the Israelis is the equivalent on their 9 million population of about 16 9/11s. So the kind of attacks you see against Israelis there by Hamas and then the threats against them worldwide are a real serious situation. Now, obviously, people are concerned about the plight of the Palestinian people, but there can be no justification whatsoever for Hamas's terrorist attacks that took place in Israel a week ago now.
All right. Well, Mr. Jafar, thank you so much for joining us on WION with your insights and perspective on this.
Thank you for having me.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.